What up? Got a shorter lesson for you today. Not about Wayne Shorter, God rest his soul, but like a brief lesson. I think we all suffer similarly as musicians and improvisers. What we believe we must do is usually different from what we actually have to do or should do or could do. One of the things I always struggled with was just kind of wondering how I put the pieces of my education and the facts that I've learned and the things I've practiced, how do I put it together into an appropriate stew? How does it become a solo, right? Hopefully we learn and memorize what notes are in a chord. So when we see a chord symbol, hopefully 4 notes pop right into our brain. Very, 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 very quick. Nanosecond quick. But there still can be maybe a misunderstanding that the only thing we're supposed to do is know those data sets of chords and intersect with some of the right notes as we create our completely original, inspired, authentic, personal composition in real time, as if we'd read it on a paper going left to right. And as I've said in some other videos, I think that's an unbearable weight for anyone to uphold. And it serves to kind of displace the fundamentals and core elements of musical shape and design, right? It's like we memorize it and then we just jump right to being an individual. And I just don't think it's true. So I'm here to tell you that you can use the chord itself with a little bit of rhythm and personal flair, and it can become vocabulary. It can be worthwhile. So C triangle, C major 7. I hope most of us know what that means. C, E, G, B natural. And I think when I was younger, I was under the misapprehension that if I memorized those notes and I could go to the piano and say blimp, and I could take my trumpet and say, cool, I'm done. Now I'm prepared to use that information in a super badass solo in a manner that only I would do it. And that wasn't the case. How'd it work for you guys? I thought so. So when I was probably closer to 30, I just woke up to the fact that you can practice the basic things with a little bit of intention, musicality. So a chord as fundamental and I guess simple as C major 7, I started to practice with it like this, maybe changing how I bookend the experience. Instead of starting on C, maybe I'll start on B. It's already music, right? It's not just a fact that I'm extricating 1 or 2 notes to intersect with on my own terms. That's nice. And it's of a shape and kind and quality that the human race already knows and understands. So if you're trying to speak a language that's not totally alien, that might be a decent circle, square, or triangle to use in your painting, yeah? Just the C chord itself, with a couple neighbor notes, it's starting to sound personal, starting to sound more like a horizontal line than just a chordal fact to be memorized. You dig? Now, rather than trying to adhere to every rule ever invented for music and plot and plan your points and purposes several measures before you're... What if we think about, in our practice and maybe even in our bandstand behavior, making the smallest edits possible? So what if C major 7, C, E, G, B, we started to beg the question, what happens if you change 1 note at a time? What if I change the G? Oh man, I accidentally just learned that G natural and G sharp could coexist. Wow. But what am I exploring and how did I land on that information? Electing, consenting to play a C chord up and down for a little bit? Maybe I should change one note. What'll that give me? So now I'm literally playing like a child with some blocks, with some objects that I can understand. I can see them on the piano. I think if someone taught me what C major 7 was in 5th grade, I would have got it then too. You don't have to be old, mature, smart. You don't have to have a degree in music. But just playing a chord up and down for memory's sake and to prove that you can technically play it once or twice is insufficient. And I have found that my practice got a hell of a lot more impactful and effective, as well as fun and more stress-free, where I not only practiced fundamental things in terms of breath, technique, accuracy, ear, but I can then allow a little bit of childlike play into the room. And now I'm not just practicing trumpet technique or licks or chords, I'm practicing improvisation, but with very small binary decisions. What happens if that G turns to a G sharp? You don't even have to know what to call it, just beg the question. What happens if the E turns into a minor third, E flat instead? With a little more passing tones in between, I'm going to think of a still image of this chord. I guess technically if we gave it a name now, it might be C minor major 7, since I decided to change one note. And what if I add some passing tones in the C scale to provide some fluidity and momentum? Right?